If only it were as easy as it can be made to sound. The challenge is as old and as international as the vision, and the challenge has been expressed by different people in different times and places. Francis Bowes Sayer wrote, "Humanity cannot go forward, civilization cannot advance, except as the philosophy of force is replaced by that of human brotherhood." John S. Hoyland wrote something which reflects Macaulay's picture in Lays of Ancient Rome. "Let brotherly love continue, so that the strong may share their strength with the weak, the wise may share their knowledge with the simple, the seers of truth may share their vision with those whose eyes are dim." And Hugh B. Brown, "For any church, country, nation, or other group to believe that it is the only people in whom God is interested, or that it has special merit because of colour, race, or belief, that they are inherently superior and loved by God without regard to the lives they live, is not only a great and dangerous fallacy, but is a continuing barrier to peace." The American Unitarian Adlai Stevenson wrote, "Our prayer is that men everywhere will learn finally to live as brothers, to respect each other's differences, to heal each other's wounds, to promote each other's progress, and to benefit from each other's knowledge. If the evangelical virtue of charity can be translated into political terms, aren't these our goals?" He also observed, "On this shrunken globe, men can no longer live as strangers." To respect each other's differences, to heal each other's wounds, to promote each other's progress, and to benefit from each other's knowledge. In order to benefit from each other's knowledge, we have to share that knowledge. That means we need to engage in dialogue, in talking with each other and listening to each other. After Nawal Prinja, the next speaker was David Gifford, who was Executive Director of the Council of Christians and Jews, the organisation which works to foster mutual understanding, respect, cooperation and dialogue between those two great religious traditions. And David Gifford warned that dialogue is a risky business. It's a risky business, but important if we're to succeed in building good relationships, and good relationships are important if we're to succeed in meaningful dialogue. In dialogue, listening is more important than talking. It can't be a one-sided venture in which one party dominates and does all the talking without listening. And we need to understand dialogue as a journey, as a process, rather than as a destination. In setting out on a journey of dialogue, we need to start where we are, and we need to take small steps. Thomas Verner Smith wrote, "Brotherhood is, in essence, a hope on the road, the long road to fulfillment. To claim it to be already a full-grown fact is to be guilty of hypocrisy. To admit it to be always a fiction is to be guilty of cynicism. Let us avoid both." A couple of days after that national meeting of the Interfaith Network, my wife Anne and I drove to Warwickshire to join my brother David for a couple of nights on the narrowboat in which he owns a share. It's moored on the Calcutta Marina near Leamington Spa, and we spent the time on the canal in that lovely area. It was very peaceful and relaxing, although it can be physically demanding working the locks. And I had time to reflect on some of the aspects and themes of brotherhood which had arisen at the Interfaith Network's meeting. Some of you, but not all, will know that my brother David is also a Unitarian minister. Since 1981, 28 years, he has had half a dozen ministries, including 9 years in Peterborough, New Hampshire, in the United States of America. That was his longest ministry. He's now serving as the London District Minister. Since 1976, 33 years, I have had 2 ministries. 15 years in Sydney and 18 years now in Sheffield in England. So our careers have been different. And although we have considerable respect for each other, our ministries have been different. We share all sorts of aims, visions, principles, standards, but we are not merely copies or clones of each other. David is more of a visionary leader, as was demonstrated by his presentation for the Foy Society at the General Assembly meetings held in Sheffield in 2002. A presentation which actually set in motion the changes in our national Unitarian governance, including the change from a large, indeed unwieldy council of delegates and sectional representatives to a much smaller, nationally elected executive committee. I'm more of an administrator, as demonstrated by my various treasurerships and other committee positions. But we share a passion for Unitarianism and for its ministry. That passion is not shared, emphatically it is not shared by our two brothers, who will be seen at church, any church, only when absolutely necessary and unavoidable, for events such as weddings and funerals. Even my twin brother Bill, with whom I'm staying, is working today. Our sister Robin, who died something over a decade ago, was an active member of this congregation, but she never expressed any interest in going into the ministry, so she fell somewhere between David and me on one hand, and our two brothers, Bill and Jamie, on the other hand. David and I would not attempt to persuade Bill or Jamie that they should become active churchgoers, any more than they would attempt to persuade us to leave the ministry and get proper jobs. We accept each other and our differences as we are. And although there have been tensions and painful difficulties in the past, particularly following our parents' deaths in 1980 and 81, we get on with each other. And I have to confess my sadness when I learn of the estrangements within families that mean that brothers or sisters have nothing to do with each other, do not, will not even speak to each other for years on end, sometimes for decades, or when siblings attempt to cheat each other in matters of family finances, inheritances, property. Some of you will know the saying, where there's a will, there's relatives. It's true. In the train on the way back to Sheffield from the Interfaith Network's meeting in London, I read this piece in the Evening Standard under the headline, All Down to Freudian Trips. What exactly did Lucian Freud, 85, and his brother Sir Clement, 84, say to one another that has prevented them from talking to one another for more than 50 years? According to yesterday's Sunday Telegraph, Lucian turned down a knighthood because Clement already had one. I have the Order of Merit, which is more senior, Lucian said at the Tatler Summer Party last week. Lucian also claims Clement put it about that he was illegitimate, and it's said that the brothers fell out when Lucian asked Clement for a loan to repay a gambling debt. Now, the artist's dealer, James Kirkman, says it was something much more trivial. They each bet each other they could run faster than the other across Hyde Park, Kirkman told me. There were accusations of cheating when they tried to trip each other up. Lucian doesn't speak to his older brother, Stephen, either. Stephen is absolutely charming. And these are supposed to be intelligent people, pillars of society, role models, and all that. So it saddens me, but such cases are really only microcosms which reflect the strained relationships in the macrocosm of the nations of the world. Harry S. Truman wrote, "We cannot hope to command brotherhood abroad unless we practice it at home." And we're back to the universal, age-old challenge, aren't we? The challenge to walk together, though in different directions. The challenge to respect each other's differences, to heal each other's wounds, to promote each other's progress, and to benefit from each other's knowledge. We cannot pretend that it is always easy. Let us make our own commitment to do what we can in our own homes, in our church congregations, in our local communities, and the other groups which are part of our lives. Let us make the commitment to do what we can to practice brotherhood at home. Let us strive to listen to our brothers and sisters as we seek to engage with them in dialogue based on mutual respect. Let us try to be a true brother or sister to those who are our brothers or sisters, because they too are members of the one universal human family. So may it be. Amen.